Hi everyone, and welcome to the part 3 of Microsoft Azure Fundamentals series. So let's get started with the questions. So the question number 31 is that you need to recommend a solution that provides additional resources to your users. The solution must minimize capital and operational expenditure costs. What should you include in the recommendation? And the options are a complete migration to the cloud, option B, an additional data center, option C, a private cloud, and option D, a hybrid cloud. And the correct answer is a hybrid cloud. So we already have a solution. It means we have an on-prem solution and we need additional resources. So for additional resources, we can move to the cloud, but some of our resources will still be in on-premise. So we will require a hybrid solution in which we have some resources on-prem, while some resources, the additional resources are in the cloud. So in this way, we can reduce the capital expenditure by not buying additional hardware. So here is the explanation. A hybrid cloud is a combination of a private cloud and a public cloud. Capital expenditure is the spending of money upfront for infrastructure such as new servers. With a hybrid cloud, you can continue to use the on-premise servers while adding new servers in the cloud. Adding new servers in the Azure minimizes the capital expenditure cost, as you are not paying for new servers as you would if you deployed new servers on premises. Question number 32 is that you plan to migrate several servers from an on-premises network to Azure. What is an advantage of using a public cloud service for servers over an on-premises network? And the options are option A, a public cloud is owned by public, not a private corporation. Option B, the public cloud is a crowdsourcing solution that provides corporations with ability to enhance the cloud. Option C, all public cloud resources can be freely accessed by every member of the public. And option D, the public cloud is a shared entity whereby multiple corporates each use a portion of the resources in the cloud. So the correct answer is this is basically the definition of a public cloud or the definition of a cloud. The public cloud is a shared entity whereby multiple corporations each use a portion of the resources inside the cloud. Question number 33 is that in which type of cloud model are all hardware resources owned by a third party and shared between multiple tenants? And the options are A, private, option B, hybrid, option C, community, and option D, public. And the correct option is the public cloud. And here is the explanation of each type of the cloud model. So the private cloud is basically owned and taken care by an internal organization to which it belongs. Public cloud is entirely taken care by cloud providers such as Azure, which is provided by Microsoft, AWS, which is provided by Amazon, and GCP, which is provided by Google. Hybrid cloud is a combination of on-premises, private, as well as the public or third-party cloud. Another term is the community cloud, in which a collaborative effort in which an infrastructure is shared between several organizations from a specific community with common concerns, whether managed internally or by third party and hosted internally or externally. So the difference between community and the public is that the public is public accessed by everyone, every organization that may not share same concern, while the community cloud is a specific type of a public cloud which is owned by a specific set of organization that use similar set of resources or they share similar concerns, such as we may say that a community cloud that is used by all the government agencies inside a country. We can call such cloud as a community cloud because they all need same security and similar type of resources. Question number 34 is that you have 1000 virtual machines hosted on the Hyper-V hosts in a data center. You plan to migrate all the virtual machines to an Azure pay-as-you-go subscription. You need to identify which expenditure model to use for the plain Azure solution. Which expenditure model would you identify? The options are A. Operational, B. Elastic, C. Capital, and D. Scalable. And the correct option is the operational model, because we know in the question it says that you want a solution that you pay as you go subscription. So as you use the resources depending upon your requirement, you pay according to your usage. Such type of expenditure or model is known as operational model. It is also known as OPEX, in which you only pay the operational expenditure. There is no capex involved. Capex means the capital expenditure which you pay the upfront, such as for buying hardware or for constructing your own data center. That all involves upfront expenditure known as capex or capital expenditure. This is the definition. This is explanation of this question. Let me clear it. So it states that one of the major changes that you will face when you move from on-premises cloud to the public cloud is the switch from capital expenditure, that is buying hardware, to operational expenditure, paying for service as you use it. This switch also requires more careful management of your costs. The benefit of the cloud is that you can fundamentally and positively affect the cost of a service you use by merely shutting down or resizing it when it's not needed. Question number 35 is that your company has an on-premise network that contains multiple servers. The company plans to reduce the following administrative responsibilities, that are backing up application data, replicating failed server hardware, managing physical server security, updating server operating systems, managing permissions to share documents. The company plans to migrate servers to Azure's virtual machines. You need to identify which administrative responsibility will be eliminated after the planned migration. Which two responsibilities should you identify? Each correct answer represents a complete solution. And the options are A. Replacing failed hardware. Option B. Backing up application data. C. Managing physical hardware security. D. Updating server operating systems. And E. Managing permission to share documents. And the correct options are replacing failed server hardware. So when you move to the cloud, you no longer need to either buy or replace physical hardware. This is all taken care of by the cloud provider. And you also don't need to worry about managing the physical security of the servers or of the data center. These all are taken care of by the cloud provider, while backing up application data, updating your operating system, and managing permissions to your data and documents is still your responsibility, even when you are inside the cloud. Question number 36 is that you plan to provision infrastructure as a service resources in Azure. Which resource is an example of IaaS or infrastructure as a service? And the options are A. An Azure web app, B. An Azure virtual machine, C. An Azure logic app, and D. An Azure SQL database. And the correct option is an Azure virtual machine. So the Azure virtual machine is the example of a structure as a service. The web app, logical app, and the SQL database, these all are example of platform as a service or PaaS. An Azure virtual machine is an example of infrastructure as a service, while Azure web app, Azure logic app, and Azure SQL database are all examples of or of platform as a service or PaaS. Question number 37 is to which cloud model can you deploy physical servers? So remember, inside the cloud, you never deploy physical server. This is taken care of by the cloud provider. So where you need to deploy the physical servers? So the options are private cloud and hybrid cloud only. Option B, private cloud only. Option C, private cloud, hybrid cloud, and public cloud. And option D, hybrid cloud only. And the correct option is private cloud and the hybrid cloud. So inside private cloud, it is your own. It is managed by the organization herself. So the deployment of the servers is the responsibility of the organization, the internal organization, not the cloud provider. Similarly, in the hybrid cloud, this is the hybrid cloud is a combination of private plus public cloud. So again, the installation of server inside the private cloud is again the responsibility of the organization. So these both the private cloud as well as the hybrid cloud, there you may need to deploy the physical servers. There is the explanation. A private cloud is an on-premises, so you can deploy physical server. A hybrid cloud is a mix of on-premise and public cloud resources. You can deploy physical servers on-premises. Question number 38 is that you have 50 virtual machines hosted on premises and 50 virtual machines hosted in Azure. The on premises virtual machine and the Azure virtual machines connect to each other. Which type of cloud model is this? So again, this is straightforward. Options are option A, hybrid, B, private, and C, public. And the correct option is hybrid because we have the combination of the on premises, that is the private cloud, we may say, and the Azure or the public cloud. So this type of cloud, which is the combination of on-premise or private plus public, then this referred to as the hybrid. Question number 39 is that your company plans to deploy several custom applications to Azure. The application will provide invoicing services to customers of the company. Each application will have several prerequisite applications and services installed. You need to recommend a cloud deployment solution for all the application. What should you recommend? And again, the options are option A, software as a service, option B, platform as a service, and option C, infrastructure as a service. The correct option is infrastructure as a service. And why is that? Because infrastructure as a service is an instant computing infrastructure provisions and managed over the internet. The IaaS or infrastructure as a service provider manages the infrastructure while you purchase, install, configure, and manage your own software. So here, since you need to deploy your custom applications, you will needing the operating system according to your custom application, virtual machines. So these all comes on inside or under the umbrella of infrastructure as a service. Question number 40 is that your company plans to migrate all its data and resources to Azure. The company's migration plan states that only platform as a service solutions must be used in Azure. You need to deploy an Azure environment that meets the company's migration plan. What should you create? The options are A, Azure virtual machines, Azure SQL databases, and Azure storage accounts. Option B, an Azure app service and Azure virtual machines that have Microsoft SQL Server installed. Option C, an Azure app service and Azure SQL databases. And option D, Azure storage accounts and web server in Azure virtual machines. So since we are talking about PaaS or platform as a service, the Azure app service and Azure SQL database, they belongs to the platform as a service. So this is the correct option. Azure App Service and Azure SQL databases are example of Azure PaaS solution. Therefore, this solution does meet the goal. Question number 41 is that what does a customer provide in a software as a service model? The options are option A, application data, option B, data storage, option C, compute resources, and option D, application software. And the correct option is the application data. Here is the explanation. So software as a service allows users to connect and use cloud-based applications over the internet. Common examples are email, calendaring software, and office tools such as Microsoft Office 365. So these all applications are already installed and available inside the cloud. You don't need to install or develop or manage any of these applications. The SaaS provides a complete software solution that you purchase on a pay-as-you-go basis from a cloud provider. You only need to use these application and provide your data or the application data, such as we can say that the office in Office 360, the email service used inside the or the office used inside the office application used in the Office 365 is the example of SaaS where only you provide your data that you use. Question number 42 is that what is the first stage in the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework for Azure? The options are option A, adopt the cloud, option B, make a plan, option C, ready your organization, and option D, define your strategy. And the correct option is define your strategy. So this is the diagrammatical representation of the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework for Azure. So the first step is defining the strategy, then planning, then getting ready, and then adopting the cloud. And after that, you go on and manage the cloud. Question number 35 is that you have an accounting application named App1 that uses a legacy database. You plan to move App1 to the cloud. Which service model should you use? And the options are A, platform as a service, B, infrastructure as a service, and C, software as a service. And the correct option is infrastructure as a service. It is because the keyword here is the legacy. It implies that a legacy database is being used which Microsoft may not offer anymore as a PaaS service. So it must be PaaS. So it must be IaaS or infrastructure as a service because it is legacy and you need it while it may no longer be provided by the cloud provider. Question number 44 is which cloud computing model includes on-premises and cloud-based resources? And the options are option A, hybrid, option B, public, and option C, private. And the correct option is the hybrid. Question number 45 is which term represents the ability to increase the computing capacity of a virtual machine by adding memory or CPUs? The options are option A, agility, option B, vertical scaling, option C, horizontal scaling, and option D, elasticity. And the correct option is the vertical scaling. So adding memory or CPU means vertical scalings. Vertical scaling, also known as scale up and scale down, means increasing or decreasing virtual machine sizes in response to a workload. Compare this behavior with horizontal scaling, also refers to a scale out and scale in, where the number of VMs is altered depending upon the workload.